first time I've had an incident like this, but it's definitely the worst. RoamTownGirl here. In this video, I'm gonna share what happened, and it's a crazy story. So you remember my video about having road rage and how I don't do that any longer because it seemed like every time I got irritated and gave somebody the bird, something bad would happen to me? Well, this is a slightly different form of rage that I'm guilty of, and I'm calling it launder rage, hence why we're shooting in a laundry room. So where to begin? I guess it all starts with I checked into an RV park. It was a private RV park. Nothing unusual happened. I checked in, they gave me my spot. The first thing I needed to do was laundry. I headed over to the laundry room. There was a code on the door, but I didn't need it because the first time I went there, someone was ahead of me and opened the door, so I just followed them in. Now, when I got into the laundry room, it was very busy that day. And I was looking around, and a very nice lady motioned me over and pointed out that there were 2 available washing machines. And that was perfect because I had 2 loads of laundry to do. And we chatted and we had a nice little talk, and she was sort of speaking my language, saying, don't you just love when it works out so perfect like this? 2 loads of laundry and 2 washers available. And then I headed out, and so did she. So 30-40 minutes goes by, I go back to the laundry room. I'm gonna move my loads from the washer to the dryer, right? Nothing big and unusual there. And again, I didn't open the door because when I arrived, someone was walking out of the laundry room, so I walked on in. Okay, now there were no dryers available. Kind of interesting when they do the right amount of washer to dryer ratio, and yet there wasn't any available. Well, that nice lady that I had been chatting with was there, and so what I said to her was, are you using 1 or 2 dryers? And she said 2. And I said, would you mind horribly if maybe you could put, 2 loads in one so I could at least have 1 dryer too? And she said, sure, okay. And she did, and I made a big deal. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I put 1 load of laundry in to dry, and I put the other up on top, and I went back to my RV. An hour goes by, and I go back to the laundry room. And this time, there isn't anybody for me to follow in, and there isn't anybody coming out, and I have to use the door code. And this is where it all starts going horribly wrong. So they had given me a code that I didn't have with me, but I was pretty sure I had remembered. I mean, come on, it was a 4-digit code. And I pressed the code, and the door wouldn't open. And I tried again, and the door wouldn't open. And I'm not, I don't use those a lot, but I thought because it was lighting up green, I think that means I had the right code, but every time I would turn that door handle, it wouldn't open. Well, there was a big window, so I stepped over to the window and I peeked inside, and there was a lady in there, different lady. And so I knocked on the window to try to get her attention, and she turned around and looked at me, and then she turned around and ignored me. So I knocked on the window again, and she looks, and I said, I can't open the door. And she says, use the code, and turns her back on me. So then I started getting really mad. And I go to the door, and I try the code again. It still won't open. I'm banging on the door, and I'm really angry, mostly at myself, because I don't know the code, and now I'm going to have to walk all the way back to the RV to get this stupid piece of paper, just because this lady won't open the door for me. Anyway. Come to find out, when I do go back, I did have the right code. So now it's like, why wasn't the door opening? Whatever. But now I am in full-blown pissed off mode. So when I go back and I try the door code again, this time it does open. That lady's in there. And I let her have the full extent of my wrath. I gave her, if stink eye could kill somebody, she would have been dead. And so I'm stomping around, and I'm muttering under my breath, and I'm slamming the door of the dryer, and basically behaving really badly. But I was so angry, why wouldn't she just come and open the door for me? Anyway, When I left, I told her, I hope you have the worst day, and I hope it just continually gets worse and worse, because that's how I throw shade. Anyway, I shouldn't laugh, because I'm not proud of that behavior. Anyway, as I leave the laundry room, I've now put my final load of clothes into dry. I hear somebody calling to me, and I think it's that lady, and I'm thinking, I'm not giving her any of my time. But when I turned around, it was the really nice lady who checked me in. So of course I walked back over to her, and she asked me what was going on, because she heard the commotion. And I explained to her what happened, and she said, you know, I'm really sorry that it unfolded that way, but we have a very strict policy here about the laundry room, and we've had problems, and we've had vagrants get in there and completely damage things. And I looked at her and I said, do I look like a vagrant? She says, I know, but everybody that lives here has been instructed to not open the door for the laundry room, only people with codes. Now, I could tell you I wish they would have made that point to me a little stronger when I checked in, but I'm not making any excuses here. 100% clear, I am taking responsibility for the way I behaved, and it was not mature at all. So now this is my last trip, supposedly, to collect my last load of laundry. And when I go to the dryer, my clothes are a bit damp, they need a little bit longer, so I've got to let them go another, cycle or so. And as I go to leave, there's a man there, and he says, you can't go anywhere, we have a problem. And I'm thinking, who's this guy and what's this all about? And he starts berating me, and I have no idea what he's talking about. And he's going on and on about his dryer, and I'm thinking, uh-oh, maybe I'm in trouble because he's the maintenance guy and I was banging the doors, but I didn't break anything. And anyway, I have no clue what he is going on and on about. And then he says more, and it turns out he is the boyfriend of the nice lady I met. And he's telling me that I was rude to his girlfriend and told her she couldn't use the dryer. I'm like, oh my God, dude, I made a request. She honored my request, and I have no idea what your deal is. And I was through with him. And then I had another lady come in my face and start yelling at me and tell me, I need to go back to my RV, I need to get my things, and I need to leave immediately. And I'm like, what is going on? And it turns out she's the owner. Her name's Maria. And I'm like trying to tell my side of the story, and she's shutting me down, and she's like, I don't care, just get your things and leave, or I'm calling the police. So I said, call the police. I'm thinking, what are the police going to do? Arrest me for stomping around like an immature child and huffing and puffing? I mean, I didn't do anything. So I'm like, great, call them. So I go back to my RV, and now I start calling other RV parks in the area, trying to see if I can find another place to go. And unfortunately, it's getting later in the evening, so nobody's open, and I'm just leaving messages on all these different voicemails. All right, so now like another 20 minutes has gone by. I'm thinking my clothes are probably dry. I go back to the laundry room, and now the police are there. And Maria, the owner, officer, that's her. So the officer calls me over to the, and says, what happened? And finally, somebody's letting me tell my side of the story. Okay, so I expressed that, what happened and that I behaved badly and whatever, and I said, I'm a solo traveler, and I'm really kind of nervous about just being sent out into the world. Do you know any place I could park? Do you think you could smooth this over? Anyway, he said, let me go see, what I can do. So the policeman, he steps away to go get other people's sides of the story. And while that's happening, a new person gets in my face. This is a different man, and basically says to me, if you do not get your RV out of here by 6 o'clock, I will forcibly remove you with a forklift. And I'm like, what the hell? Now this is Maria's husband, Jesse. So by now, the policeman has come back to me and says, do you have anything else you need to do to here? And I'm like, no, I am done. I have got my laundry. I am going back to my RV. I will keep my head down. I will keep my nose clean. I will get up early in the morning and leave. And he said, okay, you've paid for your spot. Just stay out of trouble and you'll be fine. I said, well, the only thing is, that guy over there came up and threatened me and said if I don't leave, he is going to forcibly remove me with a forklift. So at that point, the police officer said to me, well, that is now a civil matter between you and him. He said, you're going to have to decide what you want to do. If you choose to stay, and if anything like that happens, you call us, we'll come back, we'll make a report, give you whatever you need, but that's going to be a civil matter between you two. Well, of course, what am I going to do? Go back and like be up all night worrying like what's going to happen and what's this guy going to do? So after the policeman left, I am now confronted with the owners again, and they said, what are you going to do? And I said, well, first of all, I don't appreciate being threatened. However, I don't know what you think I'm going to do about that. I'm a girl, so I'm going to go to the office. You're going to give me my money back. So off we go to the office. And now I am completely as capable of throwing love as I am at throwing shade. And as we were standing there and Jesse's trying to figure out how to refund my credit card on the computer, I'm face to face with the wife, Maria. And I just start looking at her and sending her love. And I'm also thinking things like, you know, please don't put me out on the street. This is unsafe. And I'm doing this non-verbally through my heart, like a heart-to-heart connection. So her first response to me is like, why don't you take a picture, it'll last longer. And I said, I don't need to take a picture. And she said, people like you think you can just get away with anything. I said, well, I don't know about that, but... And at this point, Maria starts softening. And she lets me tell her a bit more about my side of the story. Not that, you know, I wasn't guilty of behaving like a little brat, but at least she let me tell my side. And I said to her, that's really all I wanted, was the opportunity to be heard. So as Maria is softening, I then ask her, do you know any place that I might be able to go? Any other RV parks? And she makes a couple suggestions, and she's got a very thick accent. And so I didn't quite understand what she said. And her husband, Jesse, could tell that I did not understand what she said, the name of one of the places was. And so he chimes in and makes it so I can understand it. And I thought, look, even he's softening over here. And she said, step outside with me. So I did. I stepped outside with her. And in front of the RV park on the street is a Mexican restaurant. And then this RV park is behind that. And she says to me, see this restaurant? I said, yeah. She said, we own that. And I said, okay. And she said, she walked me over to the far corner of the parking lot there. And she said, you know, I don't want to throw you out on the street in the dark. You're a single woman. She said, I'm not that kind of person. And I said, I didn't think you were. And she said, if you can't find any other place to go, you can come back here. You can park over here. There's a camera right above there, so you'll be safe. And you can do that. And I said, can I give you a hug? And I gave her a hug, and I was so grateful because you know me, I've got anxiety. I'm quite concerned about where am I going to go. Walmart said I couldn't stay. Camping World said I couldn't stay. I can't get in touch with any of the different RV parks. So at least I had a backup plan. When I left there, I went to one of the places that Maria had suggested. Unfortunately, it was no longer like a public RV park where people can come and stay for a night or two or three. It was actually more all residents. And so when I rolled up, the whole community's like, who's this and what's happening? And they were all trying to help me. There was one vacant spot, but they didn't know if I could stay there and how much. And they're all trying to get in touch with the owner. So here I am at this RV park with this army of the most lovely people all trying to help me. And it's getting darker and darker now. But I wasn't as panicked because I knew I could go back to the parking lot at by the Mexican restaurant. Well, in the midst of all this, I get a phone call from one of the places I had left a voicemail. And of all things, the guy's name was Wesley. So I knew it was meant to be. Wesley's the name of my dog, for those of you that don't remember. Anyway, he asked me, where are you? I told him. He said, you're not too far. He said, come on over. I'll meet you at the gate and let you in. And I was able to get situated in a proper RV park behind the gate. I told Wesley my story. And you know what's interesting is he knew exactly what park I had been at, and he knew the people I interacted with, which kind of makes me wonder, like, do they have a reputation of throwing people out of their RV park? I wonder, do I have a record now because the police came out and talked to me and took all my information? I don't know if I'm like a real life criminal or what, but that is the most trouble I have ever gotten in my life. Suffice to say, I have learned my lesson. I'm curious. How many of you out there are equally guilty of behaving kind of badly? And for any of you that are, I invite you to join me in my commitment to do better and behave better. And next time somebody in a laundry room just pushes my last nerve, I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut.